These are the many faces of Servol through the years. September 1970, the aftermath of the Black Power riots in Trinidad. Amid the clamor of gunshots, army jeeps racing by, and disgruntled liners on street corners, two extraordinary citizens climbed this hill and approached a group of liners on the street corner. At that moment, 25 years ago, Servol was born. Father Panton recalls how the seed was sown for this unique approach to community development and service.
It started with two people working up together in Modern Terrace on the 8th of September 1970 with the basic desire to do something in the community to help in any way they could. We worked up a group of youngsters in the street corner, and we just went up to them and we said, "My name is Father Panton, this is where we heard. We'd like to talk to you." The reaction was one of astonishment, suspicion, hostility. And some of them just refused to talk to us at the time.
Meeting these challenges head-on despite hostility and suspicion, the foundation for Servol was laid. Service volunteered for all. An organization of weak, frail, ordinary, imperfect, yet hopeful and committed people seeking to help weak, frail, ordinary, imperfect, hope-drained people become agents of attitudinal and social change in a journey which leads to total human development. It does so through respectful intervention in the lives of others and seeks to empower individuals and communities to develop as role models for the nation. After identifying the much-needed community projects, it became necessary to raise funds to enable implementation. In response to this need, the group, backed by the support of the Trinidad Hilton, designed the now well-known Poor Man's Christmas Dinner. For the past 25 years, the Hilton has hosted this dinner at no cost to Servol.
People pay $50 for the dinner, and all they get is some soup, a glass of water, and a loaf of bread. And every year, about 500 people must buy tickets for this dinner, right? All sorts of people. I would like to tell them to spend the money well.
By the beginning of the following year, 1971, Wes Hall had returned to his native Barbados, and Father Panton needed additional people to work in the field. So, with no available funds to pay staff, he made a formal request to the Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Force, appealing for the assignment of volunteers to work with him. Responding to the call for assistance, Brigadier Jeff Serret released 12 soldiers and sailors to assist Servol in its community work. This is what the Brigadier had to say.
Brigadier is a very difficult man to relate to. I think he is a very good will to members of the defense force to assist the community. And I thought it was no better way in which we could have done it. My assistants, members of the defense force, are not in Servol to do with it. They are in Servol to encourage the people that they have in the areas that they are appointed, to organize them, to supervise them, to take their own ideas that the things that they want and encourage them and help them to materialize.
By the end of 1971, the first Servol projects were initiated, and the seeds of Servol's philosophy of attentive listening and respectful intervention were sown. The project evolved from the people's response to the now famous Servol question, "How can we help?" And Servol sought from these early days to empower groups to be self-reliant. The Early Childhood Care and Education Project responded to the requests of parents for a better education for their young children. The community was involved at every level. By 1972, the project had expanded to include teacher training, and young women from the Laventille area became the first trained teachers and helped develop a relevant curriculum for these centers, which became the hub for community development. Moving outward beyond Port Spain in 1973, Servol embarked on an agricultural project. It began with 16 youths in Vancouver cultivating and harvesting short crops and cocoa. This was later transformed into a system of family farms which proved more viable. Similar projects were established in Tobago, at Richmond, and Goldsboro. Meanwhile, in Port of Spain, an increasing number of communities asked that their adolescent children be trained in a skill which would enable them to find a job. Once again, Servol responded to the appeal by setting up workshops in rented or borrowed premises to teach welding, plumbing, woodwork, masonry, sewing, and catering. By 1976, the rapid expansion of Servol's vocational projects necessitated a move from the small building in Duncan Street loaned by the Archdiocese of Port of Spain to a larger property to house its operations. To this end, a piece of land on the Beetham estate was acquired from the National Housing Authority. 100 apprentices and 6 instructors under the supervision of Sister Ruth then embarked on constructing Servol's first vocational center. 2 years later, in 1978, after an incredible amount of effort, the doors of the Servol Life Center were opened. By 1979, Servol embarked on building 2 more centers, the Sunshine Hill Life Center in East Dry River and the Forest Park Life Center in South Trinidad. The Sunshine Hill Life Center was built on the remains of a burnt-down primary school on Calvary Hill, East Dry River, which the Catholic Board of Education offered to Servol to cater for the 110 specially differently abled children who were at the time being educated in rented premises. Thus, the center grew from strength to strength. The dedication and commitment of the teachers who were from the Laventille area resulted in the community fostering a positive relationship with the center in a neighborhood which was then a haven for lawlessness and drug trafficking. 16 years later, Servol and its special children are still received with support and goodwill. A small printery forms part of this center where, as well as doing jobs for customers, young students are trained and all Servol's printing is done. The story behind the Forest Park Light Center is equally interesting. Later, in 1979, Colony Limited offered Servol an old new pen which was located on 3 acres of land. By that time, Servol was well experienced in transforming condemned buildings and properties into new centers. In this situation, under the supervision of a dedicated Dutch volunteer, Ron Kukla, a group of 30 apprentices and their instructors worked steadfastly to rapidly transform the old new pen into a complex of buildings. Attentive listening over many years led Servol to establish a number of important programs designed to empower communities, parents and adolescents, and to build family life. Realizing that many of the young people who entered the Servol programs lacked self-esteem and had many negative attitudes, Servol developed an adolescent development program. This 3.5-month program precedes skill training and aims at helping the young people to understand themselves, to deal with their repressed anger, and to take power over their lives. A parenting program helps them to understand the needs of the young child and gives them the opportunity to relate with and care for young children. The importance of the early years of a child's life and of involving parents and community in the education of small children prompted the organization to develop a high-quality teacher training program in early childhood care and education. This included not only developing relevant curriculum, but training teachers to work with parents and communities. These programs generated a great deal of overseas interest, and many visitors from developed and developing countries came to see and evaluate the Servol methodology and observe the programs. Requests for training of teachers, instructors, and managers from overseas resulted in yet another Servol building, the Caribbean Life Center. A 36-bed hostel and a small clinic was built by the Servol construction team in 1981 with the help of 3 foundations: Miserere of Germany, Helvetus of Switzerland, and CanSave of Canada. With financial help from the Bernard Van Leer Foundation and the Inter-American Foundation, Servol has over the years opened the doors of its Caribbean Life Center to more than 200 teachers and instructors from some 30 projects in 15 countries, spanning the Caribbean chain of islands from Guyana to the Turks and Caicos Islands. Servol has assisted ministries of education in Antigua, Grenada, and St. Lucia to establish their own teacher training centers and have helped set up adolescent development programs in St. Lucia, Grenada, Dominica, Jamaica, to name a few. Instructors have also been trained for projects in the United States, Ireland, Ghana, Australia, Switzerland, and England. It was noticeable that during the early 80s, the Servol program was rapidly expanding throughout the Caribbean. However, right here in Trinidad and Tobago, the government of the day did not identify the programs as playing an integral role in national development. This situation changed radically in 1986, when the newly elected government asked Servol to expand its programs throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Today, the government gives this program full support, and our Prime Minister has gone so far as to say that he would find it hard to think of a Trinidad and Tobago without Servol. The response was so effective that within 7 years, Servol opened over 150 early childhood centers, catering each year for almost 3,500 small children, and 40 adolescent centers, catering for over 3,000 adolescents from disadvantaged areas. All centers are run by highly trained teachers. In fact, Servol succeeded in having its early childhood teacher training certificate validated by the prestigious Oxford University of England. A key element of the Ministry of Education Servol program is that, true to its philosophy of respectful intervention, Servol did not determine where these centers should be established. Those communities who wish to set up centers were invited to attend a meeting and to set up community boards of education where the community would in fact take charge of the centers. To accommodate this further expansion of the national and the regional program, the Servol Construction Company built the Servol Regional Training and Resource Center, which was officially opened in 1990 by the executive director of the Bernard Van Leer Foundation, which funded the project. Evolving into the 90s, Servol continues to heed the cries of children everywhere. The result has been the initiation of 3 new programs between 1993 and 1995. The first was a parent outreach program geared to reach the homes of the very poor who could not send their children to the centers, and to help parents to develop a more enlightened attitude towards the bringing up of their babies and toddlers. Parents support groups and craft classes are organized to help provide self-help skills to improve their economic situation of the parents, who in main are women. Responding to a need to help those children from disadvantaged areas who failed to obtain places in secondary schools after the Common Entrance exam, Servol opened junior life centers in 7 communities and caters for some 300 children in the 12 to 15 age group who would otherwise be on the streets. Recognizing the need to equip its graduates with the tools and skills required to operate in the technological environment in which we live, Servol embarked on yet another project in 1995. Through the generous assistance of the Inter-American Development Bank, Servol has established high-tech centers where Servol trainees will have the opportunity to enter into the world of computers and electronics to further prepare themselves for the 21st century. From humble beginnings on the hill in Laventille 25 years ago, Servol has blossomed into an organization with a philosophy and a vision. An organization which can proudly boast of being responsible for training some 40,000 children, 30,000 adolescents, and hundreds of teachers from all over the Caribbean. Without a doubt, the past 25 years have been a long, arduous road for Servol. However, the 25th year of its existence has been particularly significant. In 1994, UNESCO recognized Servol as being one of the 20 best projects in the world, and in tribute to this, published a booklet on the work of Servol in French, English, and Spanish. In August 1995, Servol's founder and chairman, Father Jerry Panton, received the Trinity Cross for his work with Servol. And Servol began its 25th year as the proud recipient of the Alternative Nobel Prize awarded by the Right Livelihood Foundation. This award was presented in the Swedish Parliament in December 1994.
The projects, courses, and cooperatives, initiated, built, and operated with the help of Servol, together present a remarkable picture of community regeneration. Educators and youth workers in many countries have been inspired by Servol's success in imparting not just practical knowledge, but what is even more important, the ability to care, to share, and to love. Servol emphasizes social responsibility and self-knowledge as the ground on which professional training must be built. The attentive listening and respectful intervention at the heart of Servol's development philosophy is a timely reminder to all those who believe that they know what is best for ordinary people. As one of our first award recipients, Dr. Mike Cooley, said, "I have never yet met an ordinary person. All the people I meet are extraordinary." It is with great pleasure that I present the 1994 Right Livelihood Award to Servol, represented here by its founder and chairman, Father Gerard Panton, and its director, Sister Ruth Monrichard. Have you ever placed a stethoscope on the abdomen of a pregnant woman and listened to the heartbeat of an unborn child and asked yourself, what is that child trying to tell me? Have you ever listened to the prattle of 1 to 5-year-old children and asked yourself, what is going on in their minds as they pass through the crises of childhood? Have you ever listened to the suppressed anger and anguish of adolescence and asked yourself, how did it all start in the first place? Because we in Servol are in both early childhood and adolescent programs, let me tell you what we hear and what we feel. We hear the children saying, why did you ignore me when I was too small to talk or to walk or to express myself? And wait until I am wreaking vengeance on myself, my family, and the world around me to come up and say, how can I help you? As for feeling, as we struggle with our adolescents whom we love so dearly, we feel, why didn't someone give them to us at early childhood when building self-esteem and helping them to cope with insecurity would have been infinitely easier and 100 times less costly? Ladies and gentlemen, today, millions of people, ordinary people, are standing up and telling those who have dominated them for generations, we have had enough. We want a say in how our lives should be lived. Isn't it time we include parents, communities, and the children themselves in a partnership in this moment of freedom, so that together, listening to one another, we may live with hope and confidence into the third millennium. Our world does not need experts who have ready-made academic answers to complicated developmental issues. We have had enough of that ilk. They are proving an unmitigated disaster. Servol is an organization of weak, frail, ordinary, imperfect, yet hope-filled and committed people seeking to help weak, frail, ordinary, imperfect, hope-drained people become agents of attitudinal and social change in a journey which leads to total human development. Because of this, we too need encouragement. We too need concrete signs that our efforts are recognized. That is why we are grateful to the Right Livelihood Award Foundation for the signal honor it has paid us by bestowing on us this award. In the difficult years that lie ahead, the memory of this moment will burn brightly in our hearts as a beacon of hope, which challenges us to be true to the call we received 24 years ago, and which is summarized by this quotation from the book of Proverbs. Let your eyes be fixed ahead, your gaze be straight before you. Let the path you tread be level, and all your ways made firm. Turn neither to right